Said an awful lot about the schedule for this tour, and certainly there were some tired legs in Australia, and less than 2 days later, England now in New Zealand. The scene, the Mount Smart Stadium here in Auckland, one of the venues for the Commonwealth Games, indeed the main venue for the opening ceremony and the athletics of last year's Commonwealth Games, and the ground where New Zealand football enjoyed some of its finest moments en route to that 1982 World Cup in Spain. Their achievement then perhaps the highlight of 100 years of football in these parts, and now it's that centenary that England are here to celebrate. Well, the England team shows that Graham Taylor has made 3 changes from the Australia match. Mark Wright is injured, so 24-year-old Earl Barrett of Oldham Athletic wins his first cap at number 6. And in come 2 wide men, Dennis Wise wearing number 9 but playing on the right, and Mark Walters at number 11 winning his first full cap and starting on the left. They replace Nigel Clough and David Hurst, and you can see there are 3 more uncapped players there on the bench. Gary Charles of Nottingham Forest, number 12, Tony Coton, the goalkeeper, and number 15, Brian Deane from Sheffield United. And the New Zealand team, without their star striker Winton Rufer, who has German Cup commitments with Werder Bremen, and without Chris Zorasic of Leyton Orient, who was not released. But 3 players there with English connections. Number 2, Michael Rydenton, had a trial at Rotherham last season. Number 5, Kerry Evans, plays for Oxford United in the 2nd Division. And number 9, Declan Edge, was once with Shrewsbury and Notts County. He's now an insurance agent in a team of part-time players for whom football here is very much a secondary occupation. Graham Taylor on a record. If England avoid defeat today, he sets a new mark, 10 games unbeaten from the start of his reign as manager. The referee is Denis Vouchinas, who was born in Greece, now comes from Australia. He's 48, his first major international, but it may also be his last because he's reached the FIFA retirement age. England playing in red shirts and blue shorts, New Zealand in all white. Lovely afternoon, the time in New Zealand just after 2:30, and the sun shining. A very good top surface here at Mount Smart, a better pitch than the one England played on in Sydney. Here's number 8, Danny Halligan for New Zealand in midfield, and England with Walters on the left, and a free kick. Trevor Brooking is with me in the commentary box.
Well, Mark Walters missing out then, giving away a free kick, but he is an out-and-out winger, as I said before the game, and he would like to take on his defenders, and Tony Ferris will be his direct opponent.
Here's Halligan. The plan for New Zealand, their coaching staff includes Keith Pritchard, the former Watford player, who there's Ian Marshall, the manager. Keith Pritchard on his staff, who was a player with Graham Taylor's successful Watford team, which went from the 4th Division to the 1st. And their plan, the New Zealanders, is to play with one man right up, De Jong, the striker who's with a Dutch club, and the others coming from midfield.
Could you go to the centre door of the main stand?
A lot of the crowd sitting on the grass behind the goal away to our left. Here's Rydenton, full-back. Looking for McGarry. That was tucked back in by De Jong, and McGarry went again. Needed a pretty fair challenge by Des Walker. It was Michael McGarry who was threatening for New Zealand.
Good move, good ball by Edge, and McGarry there, who found himself with 3 or 4 yards of space. And unfortunately for him, it was in fact Des Walker who raced back, and he's so quick at those recovery situations. He got the tackle in before he got the shot on target.
Some encouragement there, though, for New Zealand, who've twice lost to Australia, recent internationals. That's any barometer of form. The Australians beat them 1-0 and 2-0. And both countries looking towards the qualifiers now for the next World Cup. That's their long-term aim. This is Declan Edge for New Zealand. Stuart Pearce. Walters. Oh, he's away here, and he's got Lineker and Wise waiting in the centre. Platt is following up. There goes Lineker, Rydenton's header. First chance for Mark Walters to show his pace on the left-hand side. A mistake by Earl Barrett. And the New Zealanders in with a chance here. McGarry. And Chris Woods comes, and some uncertainty as Des Walker hooks the ball away, but it was Michael McGarry worrying this England defence for the second time.
On that occasion, the debutant Earl Barrett have to realise at this level you can't afford to give it away at the halfway line, but again, Des Walker's pace rescuing the situation.
Here comes Stuart Pearce to Walters. Jeff Thomas. Walters goes again. Lineker and Wise waiting in the centre. Platt joining them now. And the corner conceded by Rydenton. Earl Barrett is also coming up for England corners. Wise there, leaving this one for Stuart Pearce. Good defending. This is Batty. Two countries have never met before at a full international level, so New Zealand become England's 53rd different opponents. Been playing a quarter of an hour, and they have met in B internationals before, the last one at Nottingham Forest in 1984 when England won 2-0. Pearce has got round the back nicely there. And Lineker's on the near post. Goal kick. Good combination play by the New Zealanders there, and the ball in has beaten Batty. And Robert Ironside found a good position there. Number 6 was he who had the header. And a good move too.
Just wonders whether he could have got a chest to the ball, brought it down and carried it in, but he won't beat Chris Woods sort of outside the penalty area with a header.
Barrett for England. Wise. This is Batty. This is Lineker. Almost ran on again for Batty. And a good piece of defensive play there. The goalkeeper applauding number 6, Robert Ironside. New Zealanders still talk with great affection, of course, about the 1982 World Cup in Spain, when under John Adshead they played in Scotland's group. And also met the Soviet Union and Brazil. Happy memories. A sense of similarity here between the game in Sydney and this one, Trevor, in that England have failed to score early, and that in a sense has made life a lot more difficult than if they could have put one away in the opening minutes.
Well, it would encourage New Zealand, the fact that they've managed to keep it blank, and I think more than against the Australian game, England haven't had the chances. I mean, they had 3 good chances in the first quarter of an hour, but New Zealand have defended well.
Yes, and they've also forced a couple of corners. Not to mention that early break by McGarry, and Lineker, the only England player left upfield now, as Declan Edge goes across to take the corner. It's got Kerry Evans on the near post with De Jong. Ironside up with Woods. Oh, he's dropped it, and it's been hooked over by Dunford. Well, the captain will be disappointed with that, because Chris Woods dropped the ball, and Malcolm Dunford had a wonderful opportunity to put New Zealand into the lead. Woods up with Ironside, doesn't hold it, and hooked over by Dunford.
That's what Dunford thinks of it, and as it comes across, really, it looks as if it's going to be a comfortable take for Chris Woods. Just gets dislodged, and as he falls, he bounces it, and knocks it just up off the floor and he gets underneath it and over the crossbar.
Parker. Oh. Well, there's not much cohesion about England at the moment, that has to be said. Lack of understanding when they are moving forward.
There's a lack of understanding, which I suppose one or two changes you can understand, but the lack of quality passing you can't excuse. You know, there's fairly straightforward passes that are going astray, and really only Mark Walters, who came in, is the one player that perhaps looks dangerous, and he is the one player that can take people on. The passing, though, has been very poor.
Here's Wise. And there's an example of it. Gave David Platt no chance of that. Ironside. There's David Platt. Dennis Wise now the central player. Here he comes now.
Dennis Wise getting into the middle, but David Platt, good early cross, perhaps a bit too near Gosling. Personally, I still prefer Platt playing more centrally midfield, making those deep runs. I don't think he's quite so effective in a front striking role.
Well, he's got three in the middle here to find Thomas, and a deflection, and it's come to David Platt. Lineker's there. Offside, I would think, in the 6-yard box. Jeff Thomas, who actually cut in from the left initially and found Platt, Lineker. It looked to me as though Thomas was offside. There was a bit of high kicking in there, but I'm pretty certain it was a linesman's flag for the position that Thomas had taken up beyond the last defender there. So with 5 minutes left in the first half, perhaps an indication that England are beginning to create half chances at least. Ironside, Batty behind him. McGarry, Gray, number 3, Roger Gray, is a police constable. That's his main occupation. 6'3". David Platt touching it off here to Thomas. Now, can he get Walters away? Across goes Kerry Evans, who knows these English players pretty well from his experience with Oxford. And this is Ferris. Gray's header, David Platt, Rydenton, Batty, Walters, Batty again. Oh, well, Pearce is out of position now. Ferris away. They've got 3 in the middle. McGarry's there. So is Ironside. This is McGarry. And England relieved because misunderstanding there near the halfway line left them well short in defence.
Again, just in that attacking third of the field, New Zealand perhaps just lacking that bit of pace and sharpness to capitalise, because England have given it away once or twice in dangerous situations.
And there's Ironside with the header from a cross by Ferris. And New Zealand have grown in confidence from the moment they realised that England were not going to steamroller them or anything like it. In fact, it's been a subdued, lifeless first half performance by Graham Taylor's team, And you have to think very hard to remember any clear scoring chances. Maybe one, at the most two. This could be the last attack of the first half. Batty finds Thomas. Walters. But rather like most of the England attacks, that was going nowhere. De Jong.
I think the whole English sort of defensive formation has got to push forward and get what I would term get in amongst the New Zealand midfield much earlier than they are.
We're in stoppage time at the end of the first half now. Here's Wise. Oh, David Platt was closing in there. And England may just have time to take this corner. No, they won't. The referee brings to an end a frustrating 45 minutes for England, who've really been matched by the New Zealanders. And apart from one moment when Lineker could have lofted the ball over the goalkeeper, haven't shown much at all in attack. It's been a very indecisive performance by Graham Taylor's team, and their New Zealand hosts pretty pleased with themselves at half-time. So New Zealand will start the second half playing from left to right, but the news from the England camp is that Brian Deane from Sheffield United is on, wearing number 15. He's the 5th new cap of the tour, and the 34th player, I make it, that Graham Taylor has used in England colours in the course of his first season in charge. And if that's right, it's virtually 3 complete teams. But what it does do is give England a second half formation the like of which Graham Taylor used consistently in the early part of his club career as a manager, in that we now have a tall target man alongside Gary Lineker and 2 wingers in Wise and Walters. David Platt has dropped back to fill in for David Batty, who is the man who's gone off. That was McGarry. Forward there by Barrett. And the New Zealand coach Ian Marshall, who's been in charge 2 years, can feel very satisfied with the way his team have played so far today. England have managed to score at least once in every international they've played so far under the new manager. But they haven't scored yet today. Can they do so now? Walters coming in, didn't make very good contact.
England putting in a few more crosses than they did in the first 45 minutes. I suppose one player who the crowd would be hoping to just sort of get more into the action and opportunities would be Gary Lineker.
Here's De Jong for New Zealand. The challenge was by Des Walker. It's a foul. And the All Whites, as the New Zealanders call their football team, are certainly responding to the occasion. Giving England a good hard game. There's nothing in it. And they've sent the central defenders up now for the free kick. And there's De Jong. Back in again by Halligan. Still not really away. Maybe now. It was Lineker linking up with Wise. That's Thomas.
Thomas got in the way there of a pass that was directed to Mark Walters, and that's why the move broke down. Wise was trying to play it out wide.
Steve Sumner there, the coach of the New Zealand team, one of the 1982 heroes. You may remember he scored against Scotland in that match in Spain when the New Zealanders came back from 3-0 down to 3-2 and eventually lost to the Scots by 5 goals to 2. Here's Pearce. Walters. There goes Deane. Holding off Gray. Oh, good take by the goalkeeper. Dennis Wise was coming in on the 6-yard line, and Clint Gosling stretching to pluck that one out. Quite good work by Dean on the left-hand side. Here's Malcolm Dunford. That's long for Lineker. Comes off the back of Dunford's head. Platt. Again. Ball given away when it should have been delivered far better. Now, this was Dean working hard on the left-hand side. The ball plucked back quite nicely, but well taken by the goalkeeper. Thomas. Dean again. David Platt. Wise out to the right. Still Wise. The goalkeeper seems pretty comfortable. He got a bang on the head from Brian Dean, I think, there. Clint Gosling winning his 44th cap. But he's handled the ball cleanly. This was a case of Dennis Wise curling the cross in. In came Dean, collided with the goalkeeper, who held on well. But it's that sort of cross that England are looking for. So there's the situation here in Auckland, and what some people thought would be an easy passage for England has been turned out to be just the opposite in both the games so far. Here's Platt. And Dunford just stretching. He's done a good job on Lineker, the New Zealand captain. He's kept close to the England leader and snuffed him out, really. Halligan. In fact, those two captains have each got one chance to look back on. Lineker straight at the goalkeeper, Dunford over the bar. Here's Walters. David Platt starts a run. This is Parker. Now Walters again. Foul on the edge of the area. Dunford. I think Halligan went in first and Dunford followed him, and between them they brought him down. John Salako is getting ready, but before that, England have a free kick in a threatening position here. Stuart Pearce and Dennis Wise. Yes, it was Halligan there who went in first and committed the foul. Now, can Pearce or Wise conjure something from a free kick to help England out of a bit of a hole here? Stuart Pearce, the angle might suit him with the left foot. Well, perhaps it would have suited Pearce better because Wise took it.
That's what Graham Taylor thinks of that. It was a good opportunity, and as you said, the right angle for Stuart Pearce to hit with his left foot. And I don't know whether Dennis Wise decided he saw an opening and clipped it with his right foot, but he probably wishes he hadn't now.
John Salako ready to come on.
So Graham Taylor makes his second substitution. The player coming off is Mark Walters, and the man replacing him is the fellow who came on in Sydney, John Salako. So it's a straight switch, one left winger for another. Salako for England. That's better. Lineker coming in on the near post. Corner conceded by Malcolm Dunford. Salako's cross, and Dunford still sticking shirt tight to Lineker. Be wise to take the corner. Dean is up there, and the flick on doesn't quite fall for David Platt. But there will be a chance on the far side for Pearce to take another corner. Barrett this time went for the flick, didn't get to it, the defender did. This is Parker. And the header on, Lineker's lurking there, but it didn't run for him. Back in by Jeff Thomas. Wise is also there, away by Rydenton. They've kept to their task very well, the New Zealand defenders, especially the three central players, Dunford, Evans and Gray. Barrett. Pearce. Salaka having a little effect on the play now out here on the left. And he wins a free kick. It's going to be Wise to take it. Just over. England appealing for the corner. They thought a defender put it there, but Jeff Thomas was in the thick of it. And once again, it did seem as though a set play was England's best chance of scoring. Wise curled the ball into that crowd of players, and one of those heads, well, it might have been via the New Zealanders secondly.
I think it touched Jeff Thomas first as it comes in. Big crowd, because they all line up in a mass. It's almost a scrum down, isn't it, in the middle. Jeff Thomas, I think, gets the first touch, and then it just comes off of the New Zealand defender, but the referee didn't agree. It's a goal kick.
This is Ironside.
Thank you.
De Jong. McGarry. Took that one. Oh, that's handball the second time. I was going to say took it nicely on his head, but is that a good match? Pearce to take the free kick for England. Dean the obvious target. Lineker up alongside him. There he is, Dean. And Wise was there and didn't make the most of the opening, Dennis Wise.
There haven't been many chances, but it was touched on, and it was a clear opportunity. He pulled it across the face of the goal. There was no way he was looking square for Gary Lineker. That was a shot, and it missed the target. So a long free kick, touched on by Dean. And I think Brian Dean's done not bad in this second half, but Wise' first touch was quite good, but the shot poor. The only thing I would say with Brian Dean playing down the middle, I do feel because of that, England have tended to hit a lot of longer balls in this second half, and rather than bypass the midfield.
Pearce with the run and cross forces the corner. Stuart Pearce doing his best to save England's blushes in the last couple of minutes here. Wise will take the corner. Barrett has come up for it. It's another one. David Platt has now gone into a near post position as well. Dean on the far side. The drive was by Salako. It's blocked. Here's Wise. Dean far side again, and Salako's in there. Oh, they've hit the bar. And
deep cross by Dennis Wise, and Brian Dean headed it, perfect one, back across the goal. On the half volley, John Salako slides in, back off the crossbar.
And this chance and shot by Salako on the half volley came in the 45th minute of the second half. We're now in stoppage time. McGarry for New Zealand. Pearce's tackle. And the All Whites stretching England to the last here. It's a question of what the referee adds on now in terms of time for stoppages. It's a throw into New Zealand to be taken by Tony Ferris. De Jong is in there, so is Declan Edge, so is Ironside. That's De Jong. And New Zealand given a corner. Kerry Evans coming up, so is Bray, so is Dunford. The shot. It was rising all the time from Danny Halligan. Well, they fairly enjoyed themselves, the New Zealanders. They'll see this as a moral victory, won't they, Trevor, to hold England 0-0 in a full international.
Well, thoroughly deserved too. I think it would have been a bit cruel if they'd conceded that last-minute goal, because they've battled all the way through. And as I say, England, on the day, the quality hasn't been there. They've lacked the passing, as I said, has been poor, and the creative passing from midfield is something, you know, without Gascoigne there, he's very short.
It's Declan Edge, and an inspired run well into stoppage time by the New Zealand number 9, stretching Earl Barrett. Forward by Thomas de Lineker. Is there time yet for England? Here's Wise. Plenty of players forward here. There's the cross, and it's in! Lineker. Gary Lineker has scored for England in what I make the 48th minute of the second half. Well, would you believe it? It all seemed lost. The chance of a win, that is. England suddenly broke clear on the right-hand side, and the captain scores his 41st international goal to give England a victory that, frankly, didn't seem likely. Paul Parker, I think, with the cross, and Lineker steals in at the near post and finishes in typical fashion.
Great opportunism by captain Gary Lineker, who's been well marked for most of the match. Paul Parker's cross, I think, just got a slight deflection, but it was one of the few quality crosses we've had, but a little bit unkind for New Zealand. As I said, when I thought that escaped when John Salako hit the crossbar, but that cruel blow was still to come.
Well, the New Zealand lads will feel deflated now. Quite where the referee's got all the stoppage time from, I'm honestly not sure, but it certainly helped England. So it's New Zealand 0, England 1 in Auckland. What was a fairly shabby England performance in parts, ending on a high note when Gary Lineker scored in the 3rd minute of stoppage time to creep a little nearer to the England scoring record. Graham Taylor, meantime, sets a record of 10 games unbeaten from the start of his management reign. But that shouldn't detract from the fact that for long periods New Zealand were England's equals today and put up a proud performance, and England looked for long spells in the match, heavy-legged and rather lifeless, but they did win with that last gasp goal from the captain, Gary Lineker.
You've got to remember there's a lot of young players out here, one or two making their debut, and it does take time to settle in at this level. Although we're not perhaps playing the strongest nation in the world, there's a lot expected of you when you play for England, and it's not just about who you're playing and the fact that you're rising in your level. It's about your own self-confidence, and it sometimes takes time, and you've got to expect. The nice thing is that if you can learn and be winning at the same time.
Graham Taylor has made the point already about the scheduling of this tour and how little recovery time there's been. How strongly do the players feel affected by that?
They're very affected at the moment, John, shattered, but I think the attitude of the players has been good. We didn't play as well as we would have liked. We didn't pass the ball well enough today, but considering the fact that we came out here without really having enough time to adjust from the jet lag and things, and then having to play this game probably 36 hours after the last one, it's nice to have scraped through in both games, although we're not particularly pleased with that performance.
There was nothing really in the match to point me in any direction, other than in fact Solarco's brief substitute appearance again. I thought he's done well. I've been very pleased, and I think that is part of the reason of the whole tour, isn't it? Not only have we come out here where really we've got nothing to do but to win the games, we're not going to get any sort of praise or anything like that. It is a flag-waving exercise being here, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anybody, so all we've got to do is to win games, but other than that, then I've got to just see if there are one or two players on this particular tour that can add to the strength of my squad. And so far, after a couple of games, I must admit that John Solarco, I think, has tickled everyone's fancy. He's done quite well.
People at home will be puzzled as to why we don't beat these sort of teams more easily. Is it because they're better than we think? Is it because some of our best players aren't here? Or is it because the ones who are here, as you've said, are tired or not on their game?
I think really they ought to be puzzled as to why we're here. And that's really all I can say about that to start with. But I mean, and I don't mean that once again, I mean the hosts, the tremendous hospitality, and as I say, they're so pleased to see. So that's probably wrong of me to say that, because basically it is showing our face here. But one has to say that in terms of the international football that we will play normally in European qualifying games, in World Cup qualifying games, this has got really no comparison to it. They're just not those type of games at all. And all you can do, all we can try to do is win. And I mean, what we found today, we had so much of the ball and we start to play so slowly. Now, English players don't play slowly, and they're not very good at it, so they have to have a big pace to the game all of the time. And I'm not being, once again, disrespectful, but there was not enough in the game to give it any pace whatsoever.
Our passing wasn't very accurate at times, was it?
It sounds absolutely silly, John. We've so much time that we pass and we pass and we pass, and we end up not even sort of working the goalkeeper at all. At least we did a bit better in that in the second half.
Well, Graham Taylor's view is fairly obvious there, and if England are leg-weary and laboured, they do have 2 wins out of 2 on this tour so far, one achieved by an own goal and one by a goal in the 93rd minute. The third leg of the trip takes us down to Wellington, where England play New Zealand again on Saturday, the second match to mark the centenary of the New Zealand Football Association. There's no doubt that a few people on the tour are wondering a little bit about the schedule, but as Graham Taylor says, it's got to be done, and we'll have highlights for you from Wellington in Grandstand on Saturday. From Auckland, cheerio for now.